The grand facade of Ravenswood Library loomed before Emma as she tightened her scarf against the crisp evening air. The century-old building, with its Gothic architecture and towering stained-glass windows, had always seemed like a relic from another time. Tonight it was her sanctuary. Emma pushed open the heavy wooden door, the familiar scent of aged paper and polished oak enveloping her. As a graduate student, struggling to make ends meet, she'd recently taken the night shift as the library's caretaker. It was a quiet job, perfect for someone who cherished solitude and the company of books. "Good evening, Emma," called out Mrs. Thompson, the day librarian, as she gathered her belongings. Her gray hair was pulled back into a neat bun, and her spectacles rested low on her nose. "Everything is in order. Just the usual patrons today." "Thanks, Mrs. Thompson. Have a good night," Emma replied, with a warm smile. As the door closed behind the departing librarian, silence settled over the vast expanse of the main reading hall. The only sounds were the faint hum of the heating system and the soft rustling of pages as the last few visitors prepared to leave. Emma made her rounds, her footsteps echoing softly against the marble floors. She checked the study rooms, ensured the rare book section was secure, and tidied up stray books left on tables. By the time the clock struck 9, the library was empty. Settling behind the main desk, Emma pulled out her notebook, eager to work on her thesis about historical archival methods. The quiet was comforting, a blank canvas for her thoughts. But as she began to write, a faint whisper caught her attention. She looked up. "Hello? Is someone there?" Her voice barely rose above a whisper. No response. Just the stillness of the library. Shrugging it off, Emma returned to her notes. A few minutes passed before she heard it again, a soft, indistinct murmuring, like distant voices carried on the wind. Determined to investigate, she stood and walked toward the source of the sound. It seemed to emanate from the eastern wing, a section housing books on philosophy and ancient history. The lights flickered slightly as she entered the aisle. "Perhaps a window is open," she mused. As she scanned the area, something caught her eye. A book, lying open on a reading table. She was certain she'd cleared all the tables earlier. Approaching it, she noticed it was an old tome bound in faded leather. The pages were yellowed and brittle, filled with handwritten text rather than print. The title read, "Chronicles of the Unseen." "I don't remember seeing this in the catalog," Emma whispered, gently turning a page. The script was ornate, and the language appeared archaic. As she tried to decipher the words, the whispers grew louder, more distinct. "Those who seek shall find, but are you prepared for the truth you uncover?" The whispered words seemed to float directly into her mind. Startled, Emma stepped back, her heart pounding. She looked around quickly, but the library remained empty. Gathering her courage, she decided to take the book to the main desk for further examination. Back at her station, under the warm glow of the desk lamp, she began to read. The book spoke of a hidden section within Ravenswood Library, a place where knowledge beyond comprehension was stored, accessible only to those who could hear the guiding whispers. As the hours passed, Emma became engrossed in the mysterious text. The idea of a secret part of the library intrigued her. She'd always heard rumors among staff about hidden rooms and passageways, but she'd dismissed them as mere legends. Around midnight, as she traced a finger over an illustration depicting a grand door with intricate carvings, the whispers returned, clearer this time. "Seek the door beneath the stairs where shadows dwell and secrets sleep." A chill ran down her spine. The area under the grand staircase was used for storage, filled with old furniture and obsolete equipment. Could there really be a hidden door? Driven by curiosity, Emma grabbed a flashlight and made her way to the staircase. The beam of light cut through the darkness as she navigated between dusty chairs and stacked boxes. Reaching the back wall, she noticed an old ornate tapestry she hadn't paid attention to before. With a deep breath, she pulled the tapestry aside, revealing a wooden door adorned with carvings identical to those in the book. Her hands trembled as she touched the cool metal of the door handle. "Is this real?" she whispered. The door creaked open, revealing a narrow passage illuminated by faintly glowing sconces. The air was different here, heavy with the scent of old parchment, and something else she couldn't identify. Stepping inside, Emma felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. The passage led to a circular chamber, lined with bookshelves stretching up into darkness. In the center stood a pedestal with a single open book. As she approached, the whispers intensified, swirling around her. "Knowledge has a price. Are you willing to pay?" Before she could react, the door slammed shut behind her. The lights in the sconces flickered, and shadows began to shift along the walls. "Hello?" Emma called out, her voice echoing. Silence. She looked back at the pedestal. The pages of the book began to turn on their own, stopping at a page with her name written at the top. Her blood ran cold. Emma Thompson, the one who listens. "How is this possible?" she stammered, backing away slowly. The shadows on the walls began to take shape, forming figures that watched her with unseen eyes. Realizing she needed to get out, Emma rushed back to the door and pulled at the handle. It wouldn't budge. Panic set in as the whispers grew louder, almost deafening. The choice is made. The path is set. "Let me out!" she screamed, pounding on the door. As if responding to her plea, the door swung open, and she stumbled back into the storage area beneath the stairs. The whispers ceased instantly, leaving an oppressive silence. Breathing heavily, Emma slammed the door shut and replaced the tapestry. She leaned against the wall, trying to steady herself. "What just happened?" she muttered, clutching the mysterious book to her chest. She made her way back to the main hall. The library seemed unchanged, as if oblivious to the supernatural encounter that had just transpired. Determined to uncover the truth, Emma knew one thing for certain. The whispers were real, and they had chosen her for a reason. The rest of Emma's shift passed in a haze. As dawn approached, she gathered her belongings, including the mysterious book, Chronicles of the Unseen, and headed home. Sleep was elusive. Her mind raced with questions about the hidden chamber, the prophetic whispers, and the unsettling appearance of her name in that ancient tome. Determined to find answers, Emma spent the morning poring over the book. Strangely, passages that were previously indecipherable now made sense. It was as if the text was revealing itself to her gradually. She read about the listeners, individuals chosen to receive warnings from beyond, and the Vault of Whispers, a hidden repository of knowledge meant to prevent catastrophes. One passage stood out. The listener must heed the whispers, for they foretell events that may bring ruin. Trust in the unseen guides, and seek the allies who dwell in shadows. Feeling a mix of fear and responsibility, Emma knew she couldn't handle this alone. She decided to confide in her close friend and fellow graduate student, Liam, who specialized in folklore and occult studies. "That's quite a story," Liam said, sipping his coffee thoughtfully. They sat in a quiet corner of a campus cafe, the morning sun casting long shadows across their table. "I know it sounds crazy," Emma replied, sliding the book across to him, "but I need you to believe me." Liam examined the book, his eyes widening as he flipped through the pages. "This is incredible. I've heard rumors about hidden texts in Ravenswood Library, but never imagined they were true. There's more, Emma continued. She recounted the visions in the hidden chamber, the whispers, and the ominous warning about a disaster. Liam leaned in. If what you're saying is real, then we need to figure out what this impending catastrophe is and how to stop it. Exactly. I was hoping you could help me interpret some of this. She pointed to a page filled with cryptic symbols and diagrams. Liam studied the illustrations. These look like alchemical symbols mixed with celestial charts. Wait. He traced a finger over a symbol resembling an eclipse intersecting with a trident. This could represent a specific date and location. Can you decode it? I'll need some time, but I think so. That evening, Emma and Liam returned to the library. She had arranged for Liam to be there after hours, under the pretense of assisting her with archival work. As they entered the grand hall, the whispers began anew, more insistent this time. "Do you hear that?" Emma asked. Liam paused. "Hear what?" "The whispers. They're back." He shook his head. "I don't hear anything." "Maybe only I can hear them," she mused. They made their way to the hidden door beneath the staircase. Emma hesitated before opening it. "Are you sure you're ready for this?" Liam gave her a reassuring nod. "Lead the way." The passage seemed narrower with 2 people, the air thick with anticipation. When they entered the circular chamber, Liam gasped, "This place is astonishing." Emma approached the pedestal, but the book was gone. "It was right here," she said, panic rising. Suddenly the shadows in the room coalesced, forming the spectral figure of Selene. "Welcome back, listener." Liam staggered backward. "What is that?" "She's a guardian, I think," Emma explained. Selene's gaze rested on Liam. "He is an ally, one who walks between light and shadow." Emma stepped forward. "Selene, the book is missing. How can we find it?" "It has been taken by one who seeks to misuse its power," Selene replied. "The adversary grows stronger." Liam interjected, "Is there any way to track it down?" "The connection between the listener and the book that cannot be severed," Selene said. "Focus on the bond, and it will reveal the path." Emma closed her eyes, concentrating. The whispers swirled around her, forming images in her mind. A dimly lit office, shelves lined with artifacts, and a figure hunched over the book. Her eyes snapped open. "Professor Ashton, he has the book." "Your mentor?" Liam asked, incredulous. "Why would he take it?" "I showed it to him earlier today. I thought he could help decipher it. He must have taken it while I wasn't looking." Selene's form flickered. "He is influenced by darker forces. You must retrieve the book and complete the ritual to prevent the convergence." "Convergence of what?" Emma asked. But Selene's image faded before she could answer. Determined to confront Professor Ashton, Emma and Liam hurried to his office on campus. Night had fallen, and the university grounds were eerily quiet. As they approached the building, they noticed a faint light in his window. "He's still here," Emma whispered. They entered the building and made their way to the 2nd floor. The door to Professor Ashton's office was ajar. Peering inside, they saw him standing over a large desk, the book open before him. Strange symbols were drawn on the floor, and candles flickered at the corners of a makeshift altar. "Professor, what are you doing?" Emma demanded, pushing the door open. He looked up, startled. "Emma, you shouldn't be here." "Neither should you," she retorted. "That book doesn't belong to you." A sly smile spread across his face. But it does. More than you realize. You see, I've been searching for this for a very long time." Liam stepped forward. "You're meddling with forces you don't understand." "On the contrary," Ashton replied coldly. I understand them perfectly. The power to foresee events, to shape destiny. That's what this book offers. Emma felt a surge of anger. You can't just steal it and use it for your own gain. People could get hurt. He laughed softly. Sacrifices must be made for the greater good. With the knowledge from this book, we can control the future. The whispers warned of a disaster. Emma said, if you misuse the book, you could cause it. Ashton's eyes narrowed. You hear them too, don't you? The whispers. That's why the book revealed itself to you. But you lacked the vision to harness its true potential. He began to chant, in a language Emma didn't recognize. The symbols on the floor glowed, and a gust of wind swept through the room, though the windows were closed. Emma, we need to stop him, Liam shouted over the rising wind. Thinking quickly, Emma remembered Selene's advice about the bond between her and the book. She focused her thoughts, reaching out to the whispers. Help me, she pleaded internally. The whispers responded, guiding her gaze to a small mirror on the wall. Without fully understanding why, she grabbed it and angled it toward the glowing symbols. A beam of light reflected from the mirror onto the book. Ashton recoiled as the pages began to turn rapidly on their own. No, what are you doing? He yelled. The wind intensified, and the candles extinguished simultaneously, plunging the room into darkness, save for the eerie glow from the book. Emma held the mirror steady. Release the book, Professor. Ashton lunged toward her, but Liam intercepted him, wrestling him away. In the scuffle, Ashton knocked over a bookshelf, causing volumes to tumble to the floor. The book rose from the desk, levitating between them. A voice echoed throughout the room, neither male nor female. The unworthy shall not wield the power of the whispers. A blinding flash erupted, and Ashton was thrown backward, slamming against the wall and slumping unconscious. The room fell silent. The book gently lowered itself into Emma's hands. Liam caught his breath. That was intense. Emma nodded, her heart pounding. We need to get out of here. They left the office, carefully avoiding any staff or security. Once outside, they paused to collect themselves. What now? Liam asked. Emma looked at the book, its cover pulsing faintly. We need to complete the ritual Selene mentioned, to prevent the convergence. But we don't even know what that entails, he pointed out. She opened the book, flipping through the pages until she found a new passage that hadn't been there before. The listener and the ally must seek the well of echoes beneath the library. There the rite of severance must be performed to close the fissure between realms. Liam read over her shoulder. The well of echoes. That must be another hidden chamber. Looks like we're going back to the library, Emma said resolutely. Back at Ravenswood Library, the atmosphere was heavy with anticipation. The whispers were louder, overlapping in a cacophony that made it hard for Emma to focus. Which way? Liam asked. She closed her eyes, trying to tune into a single thread among the whispers. A faint image formed in her mind, a pattern on the floor of the main hall resembling the symbols from Ashton's office. This way, she said, leading him to the center of the main hall. They moved a heavy rug to reveal an intricate mosaic. At its center was a depression shaped like the book. Place it there, Liam suggested. Emma set the book into the depression. The floor trembled slightly, and a circular staircase spiraled downward as hidden mechanisms engaged. After you, Liam said, attempting a light-hearted tone despite the gravity of the situation. Descending into the depths, they entered a vast cavern illuminated by an ethereal glow. At the center stood a well surrounded by ancient inscriptions. This must be the Well of Echoes. Emma whispered. As they approached, Selene materialized once more. You have done well to come this far. What do we need to do? Emma asked. Together you must recite the rite of severance to seal the fissure that allows the adversary to manipulate time and events. She handed them a scroll inscribed with the ritual words. Liam and Emma stood on either side of the well, reading the incantation in unison. As they spoke, the water in the well began to churn, and a beam of light shot upward, penetrating the ceiling. Far above, the sky darkened as clouds swirled, thunder rumbled, and a vortex formed above the library. Keep going, Selene urged. They continued the chant, their voices growing stronger. The beam of light expanded, enveloping them. Visions flashed before Emma's eyes, possible futures filled with chaos and destruction, all stemming from Ashton's misuse of the book. With a final resounding phrase, they completed the ritual. The vortex above dissipated, and the light from the well faded to a soft glow. It's done, Selene said softly. The convergence has been prevented. Emma felt a wave of relief wash over her. What about Professor Ashton? He will be dealt with by forces beyond your concern, Selene replied. You have fulfilled your role as listener. Liam looked around. What happens now? The Vault of Whispers will remain, awaiting the next guardian. The choice is yours, Emma. Will you take on the mantle to protect the knowledge within, or return to your life above? Emma glanced at Liam, then back at Selene. If I stay, can I ensure that this knowledge isn't misused? You can, Selene affirmed. She took a deep breath. Then I accept. Liam smiled supportively. Looks like you're the new guardian of Ravenswood's secrets. Selene nodded. Very well. The transition will begin at dawn. Over the next few hours, Selene guided Emma through the responsibilities of the Vault's guardian. Liam stayed by her side, absorbing as much as he could. As the first light of morning filtered down the staircase, Selene began to fade. My time here is over. The Vault is in good hands. Thank you for everything, Emma said sincerely. Farewell, listener. With that, Selene vanished. Emma turned to Liam. I guess this is my new reality. He chuckled. And what a reality it is. Need an assistant? She grinned. I could use an ally who walks between light and shadow. They made their way back upstairs. The library bathed in the golden hues of sunrise. The whispers were gone, replaced by a serene silence. Do you think anyone will notice? Liam asked. About the hidden chambers and mystical wells? Probably not, Emma replied. But we'll be here, watching over it. As they exited the library, Emma felt a profound connection to the place, not just as a caretaker, but as its protector. The days that followed were a whirlwind of adjustment for Emma. Taking on the role of the Vault's guardian was both exhilarating and daunting. The library, once a place of quiet study, had transformed into a labyrinth of secrets waiting to be unraveled. Emma spent hours exploring hidden chambers, each filled with artifacts and texts from eras long past. The vault was more extensive than she had imagined, with corridors that seemed to stretch into infinity and rooms that shifted location, almost as if the library itself was alive. Liam proved to be an invaluable ally. His knowledge of folklore and the occult complemented Emma's newfound responsibilities. Together they began cataloging the vault's contents, ensuring dangerous items were secured, and learning how to interpret the whispers that occasionally returned with warnings or guidance. One evening, as they sifted through a collection of ancient scrolls, Emma noticed a recurring symbol, a serpent eating its own tail, encircling a star. Liam, have you seen this before? She asked, pointing to the emblem. He peered over her shoulder. That's the Ouroboros, a symbol of infinity or cyclicality. But the star in the center is unusual. It could represent a celestial event. Emma's brow furrowed. The whispers mentioned something about the cycle of echoes. Maybe it's connected. As if on cue, a faint whisper drifted through the air. When the serpent completes its circle, the barrier weakens. Emma and Liam exchanged glances. What barrier? Liam wondered aloud. They delved deeper into the scrolls, piecing together fragmented texts. It became clear that the vault wasn't just a repository of knowledge. It was also a seal maintaining the boundary between the human world and other realms. One passage stood out. Every century, when the stars align and the Ouroboros completes its turn, the seal must be reinforced, lest the shadows spill into the world of light. Emma felt a chill. When was the last reinforcement? Liam did some quick calculations based on the dates provided. His eyes widened. It's due tonight. A deep rumble resonated from beneath the library, followed by the whispers intensifying. The hour approaches. The Guardian must act. Emma stood up abruptly. We need to perform the reinforcement ritual. Do you know how? Liam asked, concern evident in his voice. She flipped through the scrolls frantically. There has to be instructions somewhere. As they searched, the library began to change. Books flew off shelves, stacking themselves into towering columns. Shadows lengthened unnaturally, and a cold wind swept through the halls. Emma, we don't have much time, Liam urged. Finally, Emma found a parchment detailing the ritual, but parts of it were illegible. I can't read the whole thing, she said desperately. The whispers swirled around them, coalescing into a familiar form. Selene reappeared, her visage more ethereal than before. Selene, Emma exclaimed, we need your help. The convergence was prevented, but the cycle must still be completed, Selene said. The ritual requires 3 elements, the Book of Whispers, the Mirror of Truth, and the Guardian's seal. Emma nodded. I have the book, and I remember the mirror from Ashton's office. But what's the Guardian's seal? Selene extended her hand, and a pendant materialized, a silver medallion engraved with the Ouroboros encircling a star. This is the seal. Wear it close to your heart, she instructed. Emma placed the pendant around her neck. What do we do now? Go to the center of the vault. There, you must read the incantation while holding the book and reflecting the mirror's light onto the seal. Liam looked skeptical. But the mirror is back at the university, and we can't get there and back in time. Selene gave a faint smile. The library provides. She gestured, and a nearby bookshelf slid open to reveal the Mirror of Truth. Convenient, Liam remarked, grabbing the mirror. As they made their way to the vault's center, the disturbances grew more intense. Phantom figures flickered at the edges of their vision, and the architecture of the library shifted, corridors stretching and bending impossibly. Reaching the central chamber, a vast, circular room with a domed ceiling depicting constellations, they positioned themselves as Selene had instructed. Emma opened the Book of Whispers to the ritual page. The text glowed softly, the letters rearranging themselves into legibility. Ready? She asked Liam. He nodded, holding the mirror so that it captured the light from the chamber's luminescent crystals and directed it onto the pendant. Emma began to recite the incantation. The words resonated throughout the chamber, echoing back in harmonic tones. As she spoke, the pendant warmed against her chest, and the symbol on it started to glow. Suddenly, a force shook the library, nearly knocking them off their feet. "Keep going!" Liam shouted. The shadows around them converged, forming a massive, indistinct shape that loomed over them. 2 glowing eyes emerged from the darkness, and a deep, guttural voice echoed, You cannot seal what is destined to be free. Emma's voice wavered, but she pressed on with the incantation. The entity reached out with tendrils of shadow, attempting to extinguish the light from the mirror. Liam adjusted the mirror's angle, intensifying the beam. "Hurry, Emma!" With a final phrase, Emma completed the ritual. The pendant blazed with light, sending out a shockwave that pushed the shadow entity back. The domed ceiling above them shifted, the constellations aligning into the shape of the Ouroboros. A beam of light descended from the ceiling, enveloping the entity. It roared in defiance as it was drawn upward, dissipating into the celestial display. The library settled. The wind ceased. The shadows returned to their natural state, and the books floated gently back to their shelves. Emma and Liam collapsed to the floor, exhausted. "Is it over?" Liam panted. Selene appeared once more, her form flickering. "You have succeeded. The seal is restored for another century." Emma looked up at her. "What was that thing?" "A shadow from beyond the veil, seeking to cross into your world. It gains strength when the seal weakens during the cycle of echoes." Liam frowned. "Will it come back?" "It may try, but as long as the Guardian remains vigilant, the barrier will hold," Selene assured them. Emma stood up slowly. "Thank you for your guidance." Selene nodded. "My time here is truly at an end. The rest lies with you." As she faded away, Emma felt a mixture of sadness and resolve. In the following weeks, life at Ravenswood Library returned to normal, or as normal as it could be with its hidden depths and mystical duties. Emma and Liam established a routine, balancing their everyday responsibilities with the guardianship of the vault. One afternoon, as they sat in the main hall, Liam turned to Emma. "You know, we've been so focused on the dangers, but there's so much good we can do with this knowledge." Emma smiled. "I've been thinking the same. Maybe we can find ways to help others, to prevent smaller tragedies before they happen." "Like being proactive guardians," Liam suggested. "Exactly." They began to experiment carefully, using the Book of Whispers to identify subtle disturbances and guiding events toward better outcomes. Always cautious not to interfere too drastically, they found satisfaction in making positive differences, even if the beneficiaries never knew. One day, while exploring a previously undiscovered section of the vault, they came across a peculiar artifact, a small, ornate box with no apparent opening. "Another mystery," Emma mused. As she held the box, the whispers returned, but this time they were different, softer, almost like a melody. The past and future intertwine. Within the box, the answers align. Intrigued, they searched for any clues to open it. Liam noticed inscriptions along the edges in a language neither of them recognized. "I think we've found our next quest," he said eagerly. Emma laughed. "Looks like it. The life of a guardian is never dull." As they delved into unraveling the secrets of the box, Emma felt content. The library had become more than just a place of work. It was her calling. With Liam by her side, she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The whispers, once a source of fear, had become her guide. And as the new guardian of Ravenswood Library, Emma knew that while there would always be shadows, there would also always be light to counter them. Years passed, and tales of the mysterious happenings at Ravenswood Library became the stuff of local legend. Visitors spoke of feeling a comforting presence among the stacks, as if the library itself watched over them. Emma and Liam continued their guardianship, training a select few to assist them, a new generation of allies to ensure the vault's secrets remained protected. One evening, as the sun set and cast golden hues through the stained glass windows, Emma stood on the library's balcony overlooking the town. Liam joined her, leaning on the railing. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't taken that night shift?" he asked. She smiled thoughtfully. "All the time. It's funny how a simple decision can alter the course of your life." He nodded. "I'm glad you did." "Me too," she replied, glancing at the horizon where the first stars began to appear. As darkness fell, the library lights glowed warmly, a beacon of knowledge and protection in a world that would never fully comprehend the battles fought within its walls. And so, the whispers continued their eternal vigil, guiding the guardians who listened, preserving the delicate balance between realms.